Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome to Seriously Arabic, and in today's video we're learning about every single thing that will help us identify a fa'il. So we have learned that there is an inside fa'il in every verb, but sometimes the doer is explicit. So here's all the rules about the outside fa'il. Rule number 1. He or she verb forms could have an outside fa'il. So for example, the verbs fahima, which means he understood, and fahimat, which means she understood. This is the واحد مذكر or واحد مؤنث غائب الصيغة, and it is only these two sighas that could have a fa'il. Rule number 2, that the fa'il will come after its verb. So for example, fahima rajulu, the man understood, or you can say fahimatil bintu, which is the girl understood. So if there is an alif lam after the ta sakin, it will get a kasra simply to make reading easier. But in any case, the fa'il will always come after the verb. And I didn't say straight after, I said after. It could also be further down the sentence. Rule number 3, the fa'il can be any number but must correspond in gender. So for example, you can say fahima rajulu, fahima rajulani, or fahima rijal. So rajulani is 2 men and rijal is men, is the plural. The inside fa'il is the huwa. However, when there is an outside fa'il, the pronoun inside gets fired and the outside fa'il takes over. However, only the huwa and the hiya can be replaced with any number, and the rest of the sigha, they don't get a fa'il. It's only these two sighas that get a fa'il. So you can't say fahima al-rajulani. This is not done in Arabic. You would say fahima al-rajulani. You'd use the singular form of the verb, masculine for the masculine words and the singular feminine for the feminine words, regardless of the fa'il being dual, plural, or singular. So the verb is always wahid and the gender is matched with the gender of the fa'il. Hence we can say fahimatil bintu, al-fahimatil bintani, or fahimatul banat, fahimatil banat. Rule number 4, the fa'il is always rafa, and you can see that in the examples. Now I'll mention in a little bit more detail about the fa'il and the gender that the fa'il should have. So the verb of a non-intelligent broken plural is the she version. For example, جاءت الجمال. This is a غير عاقل broken plural which we treat as she, even though jimal is actually the plural for male camels. So this sentence means the male camels came. And if you look at the second example, we have an-nuq. And nuq is the broken plural for naqatun, which is she camels. And even in this occasion, the fa'il is wahid mu'annath because these words are considered she. So this sentence means the she camels went. And for an intelligent broken plural, whether the fa'il is masculine or feminine, you have the option of the verb being wahid mu'annath or mudhakkar. So for example, al-rijal is an intelligent masculine broken plural, and you can say qalat, which is the hiya sigha, or you can say qala, which is more in line with the actual gender of rijal. And if we look at the word an-niswa, which is woman, you can likewise say qalat or qala. And as for the ismul jama and the fake feminine words like body parts in pairs or words that are feminine because the Arab said so, so those are your mu'annath al-sama'i, you have a choice here as well. So you can say shakara qawmun, the people thanked, or you can say shakarat qawmun. So you have both options. And you can also say, for the fake feminine words, you can say tala'ati shams, the sun rose, or you can say tala'a shams, which means the sun rose as well. And we said that the fa'il will always come after the verb. But in some cases, you could find sentences where the do appears before the fa'il. So in these occasions, the verb and its doer must match in the number. So for example, we have mu'allimat. Mu'allimat is jama mu'annath. And so the fa'il katabna is also jama mu'annath. And the same thing is for at-talibani sa'ala, the two students asked. At-taliban is dual and sa'ala is also tathniya mudhakkar. However, there is a big warning here. If the doer is mentioned before the verb, then we do not consider fa'il. We actually call it something else. And that something else is the mubtada. So al-mu'allimatu, we would say that is the mubtada, and katabna is the fa'il plus the inside dhamir hunna. and then the fa'il and the fa'il, they will make a verbal sentence together. They wrote, and that would become the khabar, and then the mubtada khabar, they would make a jumla ismiya sentence. And you would translate it as the teachers wrote. You wouldn't say the teachers they wrote. I mean, you could, but it's not very useful to talk like this in English. And the same thing goes for at-talibani sa'ala. You have a taliban, which becomes the mubtada, then you have sa'ala, which is your fa'il, plus the damir inside it, which is huma, and that becomes your khabar, and mubtada khabar, they form a sentence. So the fa'il never comes before the actual fa'il. The fa'il always comes first, and then the fa'il comes second, and the fa'il comes for the he or she verb forms. The fa'il can be any number, but it just has to correspond in gender, and the fa'il is always rafa. And now we can move on to the exercises, since we're done with the theory for today. So you need to identify the doer and translate it, but I don't mean the whole sentence. I mean the doer of, to translate the verbal sentence. So let's start. We have arsalna. The doer, the doer is nahnu, and arsalna means to send. So when you translate it, it would be we send. So arsala is the verb, and then na will be your fa'il. Ilayhim, it's your jar, and then him is the majrur. So we sent to them ithnaini, two messengers. فَكَذَّبُوهُمَا. So let's have a look at the verb كَذَّبُوا. فَكَذَّبُوا is the doer inside it is going to be the hum dhamir. Okay, and remember, because this is not the wahid mudhakkar ghaib sigha, it will not have a file. We don't need to look for an outside file because it just won't be there. So we'll have to see what the dhamir inside it is. And that would mean they rejected. They rejected huma. They rejected both of them. This is a dhamir attached to a verb. So this is mansub and is going to be a detail, and more info on that is coming in the next session. They rejected, this huma refers to these two. They rejected the two messengers that Allah Azza wa Jalla sent. فَعَزَّزْنَا, so we strengthened them. So this is the dhamir nahnu again, and that would mean we strengthen. بِثَالِثٍ, with a third messenger. فَقَالُوا, the dhamir inside is also hum, and that means they said. Inna, this is your huruf mushabbahatu bil fa'al plus your ism of inna, which is nahnu. We are to you, ilaykum mursalun, we are messengers. So the reason why I mention other things is just to do the recap of other things that we have learned. So let's go to the next set of sentences. We have dakhalu. Dakhalu is your fa'al with the hidden damir, which is its fa'il. Hum. Okay, they entered. Ala is your jar, and then Yusufa is your majrur. Remember, Yusufa will not get a kasra because it's a ghair munsarif. This sentence translates to they entered. Okay, literally is upon Yusuf, but we don't translate it as upon Yusuf. The Arabs, when they want to say that someone visited somebody, they would say dakhala ala, but in English we just say they visited Yusuf. Let's look at the next one. قَالَ لَهُ صَاحِبُهُ. Now, قَالَ is a wahid mudhakkar ghaib. It's the huwa version. So this could have an outside doer, and in fact it does, because if you look after this lahu huruf jar majrur, we can see that صاحبه is rafa, so it's probably the fa'il. So صاحبه is the mudaf, and you have the hu dhamir, which is the mudaf ilayhi, and that all becomes the fa'il, and together they will make your verbal sentence. And this sentence means his companion, because we translate the fa'il first, and the verb, his companion said to who? He said to him, lahu. And this is it for today.
My time has come. You must continue your journey without me.
What are you? What?